side, Tebogo. Let's see. I still have my mesmerizing Big M graphic. Let's get a camera on. Oh, now we've got two Kubeshnis. A time lapse.
Kubeshni, we just getting everyone seated. Another 2 more minutes, and the guests at the front are also taking a seat. And we are almost ready, almost ready. They're all getting mics as well. Just give us a moment. They can't hear me, but you can hear me live on Zoom. I'm just running.
I can hear you. Okay, let's give them 2 minutes to settle down, and then we'll get going with the afternoon panel.
Mama, you're shining the bright lights. This is the switch on the mic up and down. That is for you. What is it? Goodness. It's okay. Gender issues. You've held it already. You can hold this mic. You trust my sanitized hands? Mama, you switch it on this way. Okay. All right. Oh my word. When you speak, please speak to the camera. All right.
I'm listening to you guys online, and I'm thinking about the weather presenter from Namibian TV, Jessica. We're live. Did you guys in Canada get a whiff of the Jessica I'm live piece? It was hilarious, although it resulted in you didn't. So what happened, Marshall, is that in essence there was the presenter and then there was the weather presenter. And clearly they had had some discussions previously about how she was going to hand over to do this soccer presentation. And so the TV presenter hands over to Jessica. And Jessica says, "No, that's not what we're going to do. That's not how you're going to hand over to me." And so this woman, clearly, and they're live, this woman takes a moment and she says, "Jessica, we're live." And anyway, to say that it was awkward would be the understatement of the year. And it's always a reminder that if you're in a mic'd situation, to consider that the mic is always live. But yes, there's more than a couple of really interesting memes emerged from that one, emerged from Michael. Marshall. Okay, we're good to go. We're good to go. Let me see somebody other than my face. And I do enjoy looking at my face, but in this instance, it's making my eyes a little bit. My eyes
another 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds. Thank you for the grace.
Sure. You can run a poll. Go ahead.
As you can see, the panel is ready, which is miking up Mr. Matlow.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me take out my... Wow, it's good to be here.
I can't quite see you yet, though, Tibbs. I can still see me, and I can see the panel. Ah, I can see you now.
Can you see me? Yeah, I want to play a video, but I don't see it. Thank you very much, Program Director, the Mayor in absentia, or perhaps he's responding to some of the issues. I saw the speaker. Can't tell a thing. Where's the speaker? They know I normally do this. We are closing the session, but I don't see the speaker. I'm not sure who's copying who. I'm trying to be you. We are here because of our beneficiaries, Dr. Sunshine, Craig, Salga colleagues, the PDO of Salga, Tatu Gekle, our beneficiaries, Kouga staff, FCM. Marion, thank you very much. I tweeted and put a message that it's not the end of our partnership, it's the end of the project. Life cycle has a beginning, you mature, you grow, you decline, you end. So those are my first words, but without waste of any of the time, because we are here with the beneficiaries. It's good to be here. Where's the speaker and the mayor? If you can see this picture, why am I behind? It's not moving. This is my favorite picture when I'm at Kouga. Yeah, Madam Baxter, this is my favorite picture. We started the journey in 2017. And I put this picture deliberately, but the mayor is here. And if you're on the other side, you'll see who's the mayor between me and the Councillor Hendricks. But I got lots of accolades, but it's because of BIGM. I'm not sure what's happening. Program Director, we can't start without that picture.
You do like your pictures.
Yeah, there are memories. There are memories why you see the beneficiaries on the stage. It's not what the chief spoke about Chief Williams. Those that were not participating, wherever they are, like they will just join us today. Kaya, it's because we've been with Mr. Richardson and Jackie and the colleagues throughout the program. We had to abandon a session in one of the crawls. They say everything is a crawl. It's an ocean crawl, Mentos crawl, creek. Everything is a crawl, but this is a beautiful town to have. While the colleagues are still sorting out the picture, it's fine. I was not like this, but it's precisely because of climate change. Those that started with me, when we started in 2017, Dr. Sunshine, I was not like this, but it's because of climate change, Madam Baxter, a biological asset. And it's very key. We are experiencing a drought in Kouga, but we hope it's going to rain. They are going to run the program on the other side. But why we brought them is that, as I said, we started with them because you had to engage your partners. You guys are sabotaging me. That part there, it's where it's written mayor. That part there, where I'm sitting, you see when they put name tags, they put it on my side. I had to change it to put it a mayor on my side. And I left the mayor without anything. And everybody was, after tweeting that, everybody was saying it, Mandisa, congratulations. But he was the new mayor by that time. But I swapped it as part of the BIGM that we are inclusive. But together we can do more. You can move to the next slide, but you can see the difference. The mayor knows. Every time when the birthdays, I'm sending him that picture. And they say, building inclusive green municipality. You saw it, yeah? You can see it. Yeah, so I'm still the mayor. In his absence here, with that, I'm still the mayor. And this picture, it reminds me of the former mayor also. As I said, it's Councillor Steve, it's Councillor Elisa van Lienen, may her soul rest in peace. It's Councillor Baxter. You can see all of us there. The chairperson of Salga, Councillor Koyo, is there. He led the delegation with UGG, Councillor Dludlu, Councillor Steve is there. Clark Somerville was part of us, but we included communities at the beginning of the session. The next one, we had an engagement, as I spoke about, because of reasonable accommodation, we had to change the venue. We couldn't accommodate Mr. Jakey and Mr. Adams, precisely because the venue was not allowing us for reasonable accommodation. But we swapped it quickly, Dr. Sunshine, to say, we can't talk about reasonable accommodation, vulnerable population, but we're not responding to their needs. So we had to, and they know, I'm not gonna talk about it, they know. Out of all the 6 municipalities, we also assessed their council sittings, but we said you need to be accommodative to all our people. So we started, all of us in that session. They are not just coming here. Maybe people think, no, we are, what do you call this word? That we are, what's the word? We want to showcase that, no, at the end we've been engaging. We engaged them at the beginning, Matuan, so that we can show this case. There was a story in KSD as part of engaging vulnerable population, was that the lady said to the mayor of KSD, but then it says, if I can have a traffic light that will say when I arrive as a blind person, I just press, or it allows all the cars to notice that the person who's crossing, it's blind. But they do have it in Canada. Tolile and the team, they were playing with that because it was making a siren when they went to Canada. So the next one is where earlier on we spoke about the next one. Signal jam. It's not moving. Yeah, maybe we don't have data. There's Chief Williams, may his soul rest in peace. So he has been the leader of the project on the other side, participating with us. So we're not creating a story. For those that have joined us throughout the program, it's a real story. We engaged communities at the beginning. We visited tourism areas where they were doing some of the work. Some of them participated in China, if I'm mistaken, but they'll tell you a story. Move to the one I'm talking about, GBA Plus. We had throughout the program, we had to engage precisely because of the gender issues to enable local development, but local and regional, because you move from Gqeberha to here, It's one road, the same N2. So you go to Tsitsikamma, you need to ensure that at least there's that collaboration between all the municipalities. The reason is because the development doesn't say you are in this boundary. It needs all of us to come to work together, and financing, decentralized governance. Then we got this GBA Plus from Canada, which we introduced to also ensure that we assess how diverse groups of women, men are engaging each other. We developed a strategy. We came back and presented with Ebenekon there in Gqeberha. But after that, we said, can we allow our participants to also take the course through? Because it assists at the beginning to start with issues that are affecting women, youth, and children at the beginning, not at the end. So we wanted to introduce this in the municipality, but the colleagues previously spoke about it. But we engage also our participants to be part of that. So this course is for free. We are saying whoever wants to do it can learn. But for the next cycle of local government, it will require for us to share so that our municipalities, officials, and councillors are taking issues of gender seriously at the beginning, not after they've done the consultation on IDP, they start to talk about issues of women. Before you even put a road, you start to think your picture and say, who's going to benefit on LED, on any work? Tourism, I said it's a crawl, but we've got a nice surfing tourism, we call it natural asset, where we can use those natural assets to improve our tourism. The next slide is there are barriers everywhere, program director, that we need to deal with. But together we can ensure that we are progressing the Tatu speaker regarding these issues. But other stuff, they are more on how do we consult. As I said, the model, Marshall and I are going to speak about it at the end, is that we need to be consultative so that we are able to engage other people. The issue here, it's more on data. Here, the recommendations that we put, it's the data for women and community organizations are also marginalized and underrepresented in most of the community needs. So we need to ensure that we reach as much as we can, not for compliance purposes, but for them to also be benefit. I was saying with Nushwa, we can't say we're giving women business while they're doing catering. No, we need to change the mindset and ensure that they are bringing them in the bigger economy. But we need to coach and mentor. I was talking to Councillor Baxter. She said she's retiring, and I'm saying you need to coach. You don't retire, you coach, mentor people like us who are coming in the sector. Ensure that data is collected. Data is very key for informed decisions. You need to know who's who in your municipality. During COVID-19, we had a challenge that we couldn't relieve other people because there was no data, Dr. Sunshine. Who's who in the corner? But with BRE, it's one of the tools that is assisting municipalities to know who is who in the corner so that we are able to assist moving forward. Issues of labor are very key, but we need to ensure that we work together. So the GBA Plus, it's as I said, you can move. It's a free course. We had VUS. I'm not sure where it's connected because I tried to connect him. We had VUS. Next slide. We spoke about this feminist and inclusive open government, which should not be a standalone issue or separate commitment. In other municipalities, I'm not saying you haven't done it, perhaps you have done it. In other municipalities, what they did, Speaker, is that each and every department or unit within the municipality, they put a budget for gender issues. Because normally what we do events and say we are responding to issues of gender. Events, Youth Day, Women's Day, Old Age People's Day, those are not programs, are events. So we need to have events and programs leading to the event, so that we do all these programs that are responding to disabled people, programs that are responding to issues of women. But each and every department must be able to do that. So Port St. John's was one of the municipalities that started to do that. They show it in their IDP that this is how we do it. But you start somewhere, even if it's not that much, but you start somewhere for programs to run by councillor or portfolio chair who is responsible for that portfolio speaker. He or she is going to be responsible for issues that are inclusive within the gender, within that portfolio. Not to say, no, at the end, yeah, we'll put some budget there, but that budget was driven by events. So those that we said, no, let's have programs that are in line with what is in the IDP, so that you start to identify and have an accurate data at the beginning. When you do a data, and the boys, yeah, is going to assist us to capture that data, is that you agree at the beginning so that at the end, you don't come and say, but the numbers are not correlating, Councillor Baxter. So the last slide that I'm gonna talk about is this program. It's a free certificate. You can do it, even it's offered to everybody who's here, because we're trying to sell it. Those that have joined the municipality, like Councillor Speaker, Councillor Atten, you can do it. You didn't do it, because one of the requirements for people to go to Canada was this one. Someone is holding his head. One of the requirements for the last missions was that you need to have it so that you understand issues of GBA. And it's a free course. You took 3-4 hours. And you'll have to take it by next week. I'll put your slide so that you know that you have this program. So Vusi started here at Kouga. It's a story to tell. He's not here to tell his own story, but as part of the consultation, he's there. Show Vusi. He started as an intern, but he was absorbed to drive the program. But it's precisely of how BIGM can tell a story. But now he's somewhere because of his work within BIGM. So we have produced more people. So this is it's an introduction to gender-based analysis. It's welcome for everybody who can share the link, Dr. Sunshine. You can even do it within your staff. The more we do it, the more we can go to ensure that people are always understanding the issues of gender. Program Director, thank you very much for time.
Before we let you go, Tebogo, maybe you can introduce your panel behind you. You referred to them earlier. Maybe just introduce our panel to us.
They've changed names, but it's fine. I will do like this.
You can just invite them to introduce themselves then.
Yeah, I will do this. I'm a co-facilitator. Hey, Tatu Mayor, you just arrived there. I'm the new mayor now. You didn't see the picture there. You can take it back while the panelist is introducing themselves. Please, can you remind him the picture? That's my favorite picture. We're having a beautiful panel here for today. I will allow our panelists to introduce themselves. Jeremy, I'll be sending my invoice. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tebogo. Although I must say, I don't recognize the man in the picture, so I'm not quite sure about your claims to mayoralship or speakership for that matter. But let me welcome our panel. And this engagement is an important one, guys, because we've heard over and over again that Big M is a partnership of partnerships. So the stakeholder engagement piece of work, how it is we connect with people, how we build consensus, how we deal with conflict, how we're able to share knowledge in a way that is seamless or that is at the basis of what the work that we're doing. And of course, Tebogo started his piece, and I'm committing to make him a T-shirt with his favorite phrase, which is "Together we can do more." So I please help me, panel. I see that please forgive me. I can't make a recognition between the name and the person that I see on the screen. I recognize that there is somebody with a red scarf, and I know that you have your mic in your hand. Shall we start with you, and we'll just flow through the panel from that perspective. Please introduce yourself and share with us your piece about stakeholder engagement and how these themes ran through the work that you experienced with Big M.
Good afternoon, everybody in the hall, and then good morning to our counterparts in Canada. My name is Hantie van der Westhuizen, and I'm part of the Kouga Local Tourism Organization. We are the destination marketing leg of the Kouga municipality, and we represent the free tourism offices in Kouga. The St. Francis office, the Jeffreys Bay office, and the Gamtoes tourism offices. I've been part of this whole process basically from the start. My role was basically from the tourism side. So I know that LED is a very important part of tourism as well. And without local enterprise development, we won't have more tourism businesses to present to visitors in our area. The whole process, I think what I've learned from the whole process is that Fazeka and Rebecca spoke about it earlier as well. I mean, the asset mapping. An important part that came from that was that our local people is also an asset of Kouga. You know, people don't realize, but we've got great people in our area and great opportunities as well. And that was one thing that came out of it for me, is that our people is also a tourism asset. The stakeholder engagement session from a municipal KLTO perspective, we've been part of this process from the beginning. We've always been engaged. We was part of the process. We got invited. They shared information with us. When Canada visited, the counterparts from Canada visited our area, we were part of the whole process. We were able to tell them our tourism assets and products, what we've got. I think I would actually like to just tell Rebecca, I know she's on the call at the moment, is that they'll have to come back to South Africa and to St. Francis, because the lighthouse that you guys couldn't go up in 2-3 years ago is open to the public now. So just for that, you'll have to come back and experience that. Then also, it's just the similarities between our areas and the way they are marketing the area, especially gender-based equity in both areas, and how I think tourism is traditionally more a women's products. I think definitely in our area, a lot of the guest houses in our area is women-owned. So we don't have that problem that there's not equal shares in tourism. We don't have big hotel groups that belong to big businessmen that you never see. So it's very local. It's local products. So I do believe that in the tourism sector, we do not have a problem with gender-based equity. I think, yes, I don't know what else to say. I think I can just move on to Councillor Baxter.
Fantastic. Councillor Baxter.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Family. I am really fortunate to be still here after I had the second wave COVID. I'm very happy to be part of, sorry. Yeah. I'm very happy to be part of this session. The last time when my family of Canada were here, we had a visit at the Fisherman's Grave. I was very shy to take them in there. But since then, we renovated that grave. We renovated also Mr. Pell's grave. That was in 2017 when I realized, but we are behind, because they are the ancestors of Jeffreys Bay. I'm really proud this program that brings something to Kouga. Mine is to speak on the issues needed to support women, youth, and disabled. When I came in here, my first thing I discovered that this place is not disabled free. Friendliness of disabled. I was asking myself, how is our youth disabled person getting onto the stage? But eventually they have made a stage here and you could get onto the stage. The problem with the disabled friendly buildings in Kouga, we need, I'm asking the business people to make your facilities disabled friendly. We had a visit to the hospital there, and one of our disabled friends couldn't get in because it wasn't disabled free. I've just told you that the fisherman's grave has been renovated by a disabled chap, and he's sitting here on the stage. I must thank him because he renovated the fisherman's grave and also Mr. Pels and his family's grave. I'm so proud of that. I'm proud and can tell the Burger it's not the same when they came here. Something that happened. The issue that I really want to stress is the skill development. We've got the skills here, but there's no certificates. I could see on the screen, they can get their certificates for free. There is a centrum, a building where we can use for our youngsters. They can paint, they can build, but they have no certificates. That is one of the issues I would like us to see to the youth. Job creation. There is not job, that's why they are most of them are on drugs because there is no jobs for them. We are getting old and they are the future. The youth is the future and we must plow in our youth. We don't have to criticize them. Out of bad can also come good. So with the youth, skills development is necessary. We've got a high school here, but it's got all the facilities there. We can just get the people there. That's for the youth. Now, I did tell you about the disabled-friendly buildings. We went to one shop with a disabled person. He couldn't shopping because the shelves were too high. So we need that issue to address that issue. Now with the women, I'm there for women. You know, God in his creation, he made men. And when he looked at that man, he said to himself, there need to be something wrong with you. And who did he create? He created me. That's why we are very important. Women are important. You know, I can chop wood. I can plant. My husband was a mason, but I can't build. You know, the foundation must be solid. But there's nothing a woman can't do. We need our women, the SMMEs, to get a structure of women. And ask our mayor, has got a soft heart, man. Budget, mayor, budget, please, for the women. And you know, men, they can refuse you. But if you keep on, you'll say, okay, man, you can have it. Like our children at home, if they can't get it from mom, then they will go to dad. Daddy, can you please? He's a strong man, but he's got a soft heart. So women, don't be afraid to ask men what we need. I don't want to die without having this organization of women established. Decide for yourself. Don't let men decide for women what to do. There's only one other thing I don't want to criticize. KTLO, the last meeting we had here, Salga said, we need informal tourism. We didn't reach that yet. That's one of the issues we should see to. We appreciate people are flocking into Jeffreys Bay because of the business people, giving them something on the table. Where I stay, there are 4 buses, about 6 taxis, bringing people into Jeffreys Bay just to come and work, due to the businesses we've got here in Jeffreys Bay. Now, I think I've touched on the disabled. Make the city disabled friendly. Youth, we want the women also in government structures. Don't be afraid. Stand next to your husband if it must be. But women, we can be leaders. Thank you for this. My director, my mayor, I didn't have something to say. I said to myself, Yara, what am I going to say now? The mayor said something about tourism and LED. My director spoke about tourism and LED. My official there also speak about tourism. What must I say? And I thought, yeah, I'm going to say anything that's come in my head. Thank you, program director. And greetings to all my family. I've got family in Canada. They know this old face. We did meet here in Kouga. Thanks a lot. Over to you, program director.
Thank you, Councillor Baxter. And these are important points, as spontaneous as they have landed from your speech. We truly can't talk about equity if we don't have and we create accessibility for differently abled. And I think that's a very, very important piece. So thank you very, very much for sharing that. I have in my list Ms. Nomhle Dunster, and I have Mr. R. Adams. I'm hoping that these are the colleagues that are sitting side by side. Ms. Nomhle, is that you?
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, hi. Can someone just have a look at that mic? Fantastic. Over to you, Ms. Dunster. You're going to have to hold that a little closer to you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am, and good morning to everybody there by Prince Edward County. My name is Nomhle. I'm running a small establishment in the Kouga municipality region. And I have been attending most of the sessions that was done by the Canadians with our municipality. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the Prince Edward County for giving us an opportunity to be able to communicate with our municipality, to ask the difficult questions so that we can be brutally honest, so we can move forward. Thank you very much for that. And there's such a big change that I've seen since before the COVID. Things that are happening in the offices, you know, the changes, the turnaround times for payments, the attitudes of the people receiving us in their offices. There's such a change that happened after the sessions that we had. So I would like to say big up to the Canadians for making it possible, for kicking the doors open for communication for us, for joining hands with our municipality, so we can move forward. There's a lot that has changed, but there's a lot that they can do more. For instance, there's other departments like the disaster department. Very recently, we had a storm, a very bad storm, and like everything was turned around. The water was up to down my knee. And then we went to the disaster offices at midnight, and no one could help us. We were turned back. And then the people only came the next day, and the water ravaged, and it was disastrous. We had to put down walls, and it's a disaster, but you know, there is a change still. Yeah, there's a big change. I'm so thankful for all the sessions and for all the time that we've put in our municipality to capacitate them. Yeah, thank you. A big up to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'm hearing you started your piece by acknowledging the difficult questions that you were asked, which led to issues that emerged from in the work. And you know, and this is an important piece to take away, because this piece about asking ourselves the difficult questions, being our own devil's advocate when it comes to these kinds of initiatives, when it comes to stakeholder engagement, is a very, very important part of this work. And I do hear you that a lot has changed, and that a lot remains still to change. So thank you very, very much for your input. And do I assume that our last speaker is Mr. Adams? Is that you, Mr. Adams?
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
My name is Ricardo Adams, and I'm part of APD. I'm also SME of Kouga, but APD is an association for people with physical disabilities in the Kouga area. I was in an accident in 2006, and since then, I'm still disabled. When it comes to disability in the Kouga area, since I was in the accident until now, I must say there's much improvements. Some of our beaches, you can walk from at least go with your children to the beach, and you can see them play there while you sit on a deck and something like that. What I think about disability is that it is not something it's something that we must work together so we can make a difference for other people. If I say I'm disabled, and I'm agree with it, but there's other people who sit at their homes, who can't do nothing for themselves. How do we gonna reach out to them? They also need assistance and just encouragement. And I think our municipality is doing a lot, but I think we can do lots more. But we have to partner together with all the NGOs and see how we can group together and not fight amongst each other for small little things, while there's other people's lives who are ruined, and we must rather touch other people. That is my heart's desire. When it comes to SMEs, and I must say the Kouga municipality is looking after SMEs. If there's, especially, I'm shivering here because I'm not a guy that's talking, but I like to work with my hands. But there is a lot of other stuff that we can do to support each other and make a difference in the Kouga. Not only the Kouga is a big area, but we can reach out to other communities and other municipalities and show them what we can do. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Adams. And what I'm hearing you say is that this piece around being able to create an equal space and equity for differently abled people is not only about the tangible things. It's not only about the ramps. It's not only about the lifts. It's not only about the platforms at the beach, but it's also about the intangible things. You're talking about support. You're talking about encouragement. And these are important pieces. And I think that, you know, I'm connecting this piece with what Tebogo said earlier on, that this work that we're doing with stakeholders, this piece about gender, the piece about youth, the piece about differently abled people, these are not events, these are programs. And so our approach to them must be a very different one. It must bring all of the systems analysis and the project management skills that had come with the whole Big M project, but in terms of how it is that we deal with these kinds of issues. Thank you very, very much for your sharing this afternoon. I'm aware that we're at 4:30 right now, and so we're just a little bit behind on our program. Can I just ask the panel, is there anything else that you'd like to reflect on before we close the session? Let me ask my participants online, anybody in the room, is there anybody who would like to share some of their piece on this area? Any last thoughts from the panel before we close off this piece? And if you don't, no stress. If you do, you can just indicate by show of hands. I can't see what's happening in the room, and I'm going to take a quick look at the chat. I don't have anything in the chat yet. Are we good to close this? Are we good to close this discussion? If we are, I'd like to say thank you very, very much to our speakers. I'd like to say thank you for your commitment. Thank you for being a partner in this program that is a partnership of partnerships. And please continue to engage with the municipality, continue to engage with the colleagues that you've made and the connections that you've made. The invitation from our Canadian partners has come over and over again, so that this project should not be the end of the relationships. It is merely the end to a formal, structured engagement. And so I think the invitation to all of us is to make sure that we find ways to connect after the Big M project. Thank you very, very much. You are released from our panel this afternoon. Much appreciated. Thank you. So we'll give them the opportunity to mic down as we take a look to see what our next piece will be this afternoon. And we're going to invite to mic up our next panel. Our next panel is going to be led by a familiar face, Mr. Mxolisi Mchunu. So we're going to welcome you back, sir. You've been an integral process to these conversations around LED and the Big M project. I see that we have some of our participants who are online. I have Mr. Dali Jacobs. Is that Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality? I see you and acknowledge you online. How do you do, sir? I see that we have a Mr. Goliath from Kouga, who I'm assuming Mxolisi is going to be in the room. I see that we have a Dr. S. Blau from CDA. And do we have, I think I saw a note about Miss Lynn Wilmot, virtually. Let me just try and find Miss Lynn Wilmot. Ah, I do have Miss Lynn Wilmot. Welcome. So I'm going to ask just to get some help to unmute and allow our Miss Wilmot to show her video as well. And Polisi, as we had done in previous panels, you're going to give us a little bit of a framing piece to orientate our conversation today. And given that we started virtually the last time, I think we'll start in the room this time. So hello, Lynn. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So what we'll do is, after you speak in Polisi, we'll go to the people in the room. I see you've got two speakers next to you. And then we'll end our inputs with our participants who are online. So over to you, Polisi.
Thank you, Program Director. And so what I'd like to perhaps start with on this very important of trade and investment is that COVID-19 really brought to the surface many fault lines around, our trade investment model, not least our over-dependency on the foreign direct investment, because with COVID-19, it really did expose the fact that domestically, we had not invested enough in domestic capacity and capabilities that would actually assist us to overcome and to ride the storm of COVID-19. And that was really brought to the spotlight. And it's something really, as we conjure up this new economy, as we try to build back better, something really that we have to pay a lot of attention to. And also, even if you look at the case in point of Kouga, which is largely dependent on the foreign market for tourism, when COVID-19 landed on our shores, we saw the devastating impact because the domestic market was not sufficient enough to sustain the tourism sector. So these are things we need to do as we try to reconfigure our economy and try and create a blend between of domestic foreign domestic investment as well as foreign direct investment. And also another point, the importance of local government in this trade investment arena. And I've made this point in one of the engagements, in one of our sessions, that when our president goes internationally to the World Economic Forum and other engagements and pledges and receives these pledges of big multinational investments that would come for our country, that all of those investments ultimately they land up in a municipal jurisdiction. So it's very important that we create the most fertile ground for trade and investment in our municipalities, because ultimately everything happens in the municipal space. And to that end, as SALGA, we are working around the clock in terms of developing trade investment guidelines for municipalities, trying to create a business-friendly environment. And also in those guidelines, we also envisage reducing the cost of doing business because now that we are at this stage where we add the liquidity in the market is much less, so there's more competition for investment. So we are competing with other countries, so we've got to give a much more compelling offering as a country and as local government in terms of trade and investment. And as SALGA, also we want to ensure that we can use these pockets of excellence, and one of them, of course, being here in Kouga, where we can use as a benchmark for other municipalities to replicate. Comparatively, I would say Kouga is doing fairly well in this area of trade investment because, again, they're getting the fundamentals right. And those fundamentals are being able to deliver services in a manner that is efficient, cost-effective, and also very reliable. So they're getting the fundamentals right, and I believe that has actually augured well for the municipality in terms of being a preferred investment destination. So as SALGA, really, it's for us to harvest all of these ideas, including the many lessons from this big partnership, and really take them forward and adapt them to other parts of the country. Thank you.
There's some powerful pieces there, Khaleesi, and you know, I'm connecting this discussion around fault lines and the domestic market that wasn't able to support us during COVID times with something that Hanti van der Merwe said. And she spoke about local people being the tourism asset of Kouga, but perhaps not even as on the delivery side, but in terms of the supply side. That, you know, we should be able to build a robustness so that if one part of our tourism market doesn't yield, that we're able to lean on the domestic market. So spot on, some beautiful themes here, and you're absolutely right. The international agreements, local presence, and it is a no-brainer, although sometimes it's difficult to get a sense of it. And I'm going to ask you to just hand over to the speaker on your left. Would that be Mr. Goliath, or would that be Dr. Blau?
That's correct.
Dr. Blau. Oh, that's Dr. Blau. Okay. Then we got Mr. Goliath. Okay. Over to you, sir. Over to you. I mean, what we're keen to hear about is these pieces about how we support business development, how we seize the investment opportunity. You know, what you think from your perspective and your organized perspective, how we can leverage these local economic development outcomes, you know, how we get there closer, quicker, maybe not, you know, with not in a rushed way, but how Big M has helped move this piece of work forward. So over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to the Honorable Mayors, and of course, good afternoon, colleagues, and our colleagues across the ocean in Canada. Good afternoon. I think on my side, you know, on the issue of how to support business development initiatives, I think we should just take a little step back. And what I want to do is I just want to narrate a short story from a Chinese businessman. He said that if you were going to place a bag of bananas in front of a group of monkeys and a bag of money, you find that your monkeys will chase after the bananas because they don't necessarily understand the value of money. And so I think I want to reflect on what previous speakers had said, some of the counselors. We need to create, first and foremost, that culture of entrepreneurship, that culture of seeing an opportunity, taking advantage of the opportunities, especially amongst our young people. I don't necessarily think that we encourage the first and most important thing, and that is to be able to create the culture of entrepreneurship. Because it is the culture of entrepreneurship that creates that mindset to see the opportunities where the opportunities are there. And that is something that we need to work on. We need to take a step back and we need to create that culture of opportunities, culture of entrepreneurship, especially amongst our young people. You know, I'm certain that if we had drawn a line and we invited a group of young people into the room and you'd ask them, do you want a job or do you want to start your own business? I'm almost certain that many of them would go for the job rather than thinking about starting their own business, even if the opportunities were right in them. And you know, the area, Kouga, specifically Jeffreys Bay, is endowed with opportunities, honestly. But as far as the municipality is concerned, we need to be able to make those opportunities available. There are a number of things, and I'm very proud of this particular municipality because I know that they do it all the time and they're always continually working at it. The opportunities of land, there are lots and lots of opportunities within the opportunities of land, even working with traditional leadership. If you remember earlier discussions and earlier comments they made, there's an abundance of land available in our area and in our country. but we're not taking that opportunity. We're not making that opportunities available to many people. There are other opportunities. I mean, the opportunities of partnerships, and this is where Big M played a massive role. The opportunities to create a partnership between someone on the other side of the planet unlocked a number of ways of thinking and seeing the world and realizing, but just because we do things in a particular way doesn't necessarily make it right, doesn't make it perfect. And then you get to see, but oh, this is how other people see the world, and this is how other people do things. And that is one of the things that the Big M program has begun to unlock. It unlocked our thinking to be able to realize that we are sitting with these opportunities right on our doorstep and we're not taking necessary advantage of them. So I think that often we have a tendency of thinking that the legislative environment is not conducive. Well, we can't do it because the PFMA doesn't allow this and the PFMA. And I want to challenge that thinking to say to you that the only thing that we're short is the creativity and will. It is the creativity and will to say, but this is what the law says, and we're dealing with public funds. And so we need to be transparent with it, and we need to be accountable. But in doing so, we allow the creativity to say, if we do it in an open and transparent manner, there's nobody that can come back and say, but this thing has been done in a manner that is not conducive. And so the will and the creativity allows also those opportunities to be unearthed. In the department, what we've been doing, encouraging in terms of opening the opportunities, investment opportunities and initiatives, is we've assisted the municipalities to develop a criteria that is able to look at and to be able to have projects that can be brought to the municipality through an expression of interest, but that develops a criteria that is both transparent and that is both able to enhance revenue enhancement for the municipalities, and also being able to encourage the best opportunities that are there in the market. So in that way, as a municipality, you're encouraging your local businesses to say, but these are the opportunities that we have. This is what can be done. And from the municipality side, you can measure that and say, we're choosing one project over another because the opportunity cost or the incentives or the opportunities that are there are better over one project over another to do that. I think that one of the things that we must note is that there's a dire need for technical capability amongst our SMMEs. Often the opportunities are there, and we can create that initiatives. But when you start to engage with many of these entrepreneurs, you'll see that they do not necessarily have the technical capability to take the project forward. And so in being able to create that opportunities, you also need to put the technical capability and back that SMMEs around that so that they are able to enhance those opportunities. Let me stop there for now. Thank you.
Some lovely pieces there, Mr. Goliath, and this seems to be a story of this and that. You're talking about the mindset that needs to see the opportunity, and it's balanced out by making sure that we have some kind of technical capability to take the idea a step forward. You're talking about creativity and will, and you're talking about open and transparency. And that we do. The legislative framework can be disenabling, but I think that you're inviting people to find ways to work with the system. And I'm thinking earlier about when Xolile spoke about, he used the word experimental tourism when he was talking about the cuisine experience that he had in Canada. And experimentation requires some measure of taking on risk. It requires going to the boundaries of whatever it is we're going to do. And I have confidence. I'm also an optimist like you, Mr. Goliath. I have confidence that if we move with the right intention, open and transparent, that we can change the system and make a difference with this piece. So thank you very, very much for your inputs. I think some very insightful pieces emerging from there. And that must mean that to your left is Dr. S. Blau. Correct? From the CDA. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, Program Director, and thanks to the organizers for inviting us to come here. On the screen, this is my favorite slide, Program Director, and I think the Mayor would know very well what this, and Mr. Goliath and Mr. Mchunu, what this slide represents. It represents, budget allocation in South Africa amongst the 3 spheres of government. And you'll see that the local government, represented by the picture, is the one that carries the burden with less around 8.6% allocation from the national fiscus. And that's the current reality. And linking to what Mr. Goliath has actually just stated, we need people with imagination, and I think this is what also the Mayor stated earlier on, attitude and creativity, notwithstanding that the bigger slice of the budget goes through to your national government as well as to your provincial government. The local municipality needs to pay attention to some of the allocation of those budgets from the other tiers of government, and to which extent do we interweave our LED strategy to both the provincial and the national funded mandates. And the CDA is the Kakadu Development Agency, is an entity of the district municipality. And its role is there to complement and work together with the local sphere of government to begin to look at those strategic ways on how we leverage of our collective, thinking that would allow us to begin to get, a bigger cake from those allocation from both the national and the provincial government. And one of the other things that is missing, in my view, within the local space, I'm about 3 years within the local space, is how do you create an ecosystem of strategic partners in order to enhance local economic development at a local space? And a typical example, Program Director, to which extent do local municipalities follow the entrepreneurship incubation programs that are happening within the university systems here in South Africa? To which extent are we focusing on the research throughput within our research councils that are relevant within our own local space? So the issues of innovativeness of the staff within the local space becomes one of the most fundamental issues to understand the different funding landscape that are available here in South Africa. Because here we are talking of the attrition rate of your SMMEs. To which extent do we know about the incubation program that government is funding? What is it that we are doing to ensure that in each of our local municipalities, we have those incubation programs that will cushion some of the new SMMEs that we are funding, so that their chance of survival is greatly enhanced. So what I'm advancing here, Program Director, is that we need to pay attention to the entirety of the ecosystem that supports local economic development, so that we are able, that economic ecosystem does find footprint within the local space. And one of the issues that was raised, it's a very important issue that Director Mabuzela raised. And I'm happy that, Kouga municipality is addressing it, the silo mentality within the different directorates. And I'm happy also to hear the mayor of this municipality emphasizing the importance of economic development. And what we need to ask, how do we reimagine the organogram of the local, government, to drive the post-COVID economic recovery of South Africa. And that, to me, becomes a very, very important discussion point that we need to take forward, Chair. I'll stop there, Program Director. Thank you.
Loving these pieces, Dr. Blau. I mean, this word ecosystem, the notion of multiple partners, of a systems thinking approach to understanding this work has landed a couple of times during the course of today. But I'm also really moved by this piece about what I read is, from the research councils and understanding what are the likely pieces to impact SMMEs. I mean, I'm reading this as having a knowledge-driven or an information-driven approach to what it is we're doing in the sector. So you're absolutely right. I mean, we don't have to deal with a failed business initiative or a range of things if we know that if you go on this path, you're likely to end there. So the invitation is absolutely to capitalize on some of these partners who, and they may be in different sectors as emerged from the previous discussion, but we all come together in terms of trying to make this ecosystem work. I couldn't agree with you more. I hand it to the guys who are going to be responsible for the post-COVID recovery plan. I think for all of us, our landscapes have changed irrevocably. So this piece of work about how we rebuild, where we rebuild, and what those elements are going to be really important. Mr. Dali Jacobs, I see your name is slightly different on your tag. Dalukolo Jacobs. Jeremy's encouraging me to use my tongue more. Horribly. I butchered a couple of things over the last few days. I hope your name has not been one of them. How do you weigh in with this discussion, sir? Welcome.
I think let me first piggyback to one of the things that you've said. By the way, I think I agree. We need to see things with a new eye. I was saying at some stage, is that I've been close too much to Craig. I was saying at some stage that perhaps you need a new breed of local government officials. And I think what the BIGM also has tried to introduce is that there is another way of doing things. We just don't have to be stuck in one way. One of the issues has been, how do we become innovative as a tangible issue rather than making it a pie in the sky? For example, if you look at waste management between local government as a sphere entirely, you would find that most municipalities would be complaining about landfill sites. We don't have space, we don't have that. But you'd find that between the two boundaries which they have, there is space for them to create some form of a vehicle that they can be able to utilize and fund it. Whether the other partner is going to fund it more than the other partner, or the other partner be more active, but find a structure to have common understanding and form a partnership in working together. So I think what Doc is trying to bring out is that we need to put more partnerships intergovernmental in terms of municipalities. I think that's the first one. I think the second one would have to be, as much as there is this identification, for example, the Institute for Business and Home Safety, it's saying out of 4 businesses that have been affected by the pandemic, some of them, one of that 4 will not be able to come back because of certain challenges that SMMEs have. One would be the lack of capital funding or even operational, funding that they might not be able to have. So local government now has to, in the COVID scenario and discourse, have to find a space now of saying, how then do we begin then to pinpoint some of these challenges? For us, because we've already been active as Nelson Mandela around developing our own recovery plan. But what we've discovered is that whether we like it or not, as a municipality, we must do what government has always been doing, in fact, as when COVID started, that continue to fund your space, you must realize that as an entity, you are not going to be able to make more money in terms of your revenue collection. But what is the money that you can be able to inject in terms of your own economy so that you create some of these opportunities for SMEs so that they can begin to move it. But also don't only do that, be able to link them up so that they can be able to have spaces with conversations to say, we need technical support in the space, we need financial support in the space, and the local government as an enabler is able to say, we will go to provincial government and national government to see how to begin to have an engagement and see which other streams of funding that you begin to be able to engage onto. So you start doing that trickle down approach so that SMMEs can be able to move on. So those are the elements that we're saying, if you start your own business retention center for that matter, where literally the municipality would then look at what are the skilled officials that the municipality does have that can be able to say, within the space of Kouga or within the space of Nelson Mandela, these are the key drivers that can pull us as quick wins in terms of short-term winnings that we can be able to get. But also you would understand that there would also be long-term that also government would have to look into, particularly as a local government, in terms of ensuring that, in fact, particularly ICT infrastructure that is enabling business and engagement to create that space. So you're then saying, let's look what we have. What does business have? What do banks have for that matter? Because banks have come out to say, we want also to put money. So these are the opportunities and conversations that we're saying that they must begin to happen, but they can only happen if they have a centralized place that they are driven from. So I think with me, those are mostly some of the key issues that I think are covered, but I think they need just tangible physical working mentality. And I also think that what also is coming clear that the local government in South Africa has been, shooting itself on the foot, because they don't look at some of the medium to large SMMEs that have products that you can be able to sell outside of your border. Because when we started to do that, we started to derive to say, what are the then challenges when you engage on that? Part of it could be is the situation of language. If I can make a practical example, we're trying to take a company that provides xenon lights to these OD cars, and we're trying to take them to Sudan to say, how do they begin to assist Sudanese in terms of putting up your high mast lights so that they can be able to have those lights through energy. But the problem has been the issue of language, which at some stage that I think we did not really tap into that. So I think some of the issues that are raised by Doc and looking at what are the other skills in which, if we want to at an LED space, that we should be able to get. Because if you are a Spanish or Portuguese country that you cannot be able to utter anything, it becomes difficult for you. But also, are we as municipalities tapping to the system there that exists, tapping to our own embassies that are outside to look at which cities that we can partner with and to get more expertise and get more exposure and probably get more funding that can be able to help us to do certain projects. I think I will end there.
So, firstly, some scary stuff there. If you're looking at 1 out of 4 businesses that will likely be wiped from existence. But I'm hearing you say, and I'm hearing you, it's been a long day for me too. I'm hearing you say that perhaps the role of municipalities can almost be as an intervener, an interlocutor, that word, yes? And I see that you picked this up in 2 areas. The one is in terms of navigating the intergovernmental framework. So, your SMMEs in a municipality. I mean, how do you chart them apart? The other one is around, yes, you're absolutely right. If a medium-sized SMME wants to have aspirations in Sudan or Dubai or some other place. They're very real challenges they're going to face, and a municipality could help to try and see those things through by understanding what the local assets are, so what that local base is. So again, it goes back to a sense of just being vested in what you have and starting with the analysis of what is here. I'll leave your comment on the new breed of local government officials to the new cycle of local government, and we'll say more. I'm sure Selga will say more about that later. But some very, very valuable pieces here, guys. Some very, very valuable pieces. Thank you very much, Mr. Jacobs. Thank you. Guys, just give me a second. I understood that Lynn, she was with us earlier. She had some computer challenges, and I see that she hasn't managed to return to our call. So that's a bit of a pity. I'll ask Clarissa if she can just find her. So unfortunately, we didn't manage to get that Canadian perspective coming in to our conversation. So it's up to me to just thank my panel. Thank you very, very much for your inputs. Thanks for these insights. I understand from Tebogo that there is a report that's going to emerge, not just of the project, but from some of the sharing that has come. And there's been a lot of wisdom in this room. I see that I have, that's a clap. It's not a hand, it's a clap. You've got a clap from Lucy. Well done, guys. Thank you very, very much for your participation. And I release you from this panel this afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you got a clap in the room. So we're winding up, guys. We're winding up. I'm looking for the twins. Where are our twins? Mr. Matlo and Mr. Gallardo. Where are you, Marshall? There's Marshall. Our discussion about models, guys. Our discussion about these legacy pieces that we take forward with the closure of Big M. Marshall, can I hand over to you first?
The usual challenge, unmuting yourself, putting camera on, looking good. But thanks, Kubeshi, for passing on the word to me. But first of all, I'd like to thank everybody who's there. I have definitely met lots of wonderful people in Kouga, from Mayor Hendricks to the speaker Hunting, to Mama Baxter, and of course others who are there. Fazeka, Kaleli, Rusi used to be there, and remembering and paying tribute to Chief Williams also. Lots of wonderful memories from Kouga. Lots of wonderful work done in Kouga with their Canadian partner and with Salga colleagues as well. I think here in this partnership, we have truly felt how partnerships work, how partnerships learn from each other, how partnerships can definitely bring new elements to consider and explore and adapt so that they work in a local environment. For us with Tebogo and team, we had a great learning from this group. The learning here was all about job shadowing. We saw in this partnership that Canadians were going, giving workshops, but our South African counterparts could not see the work being done. They were hearing it. They were saying, oh, you could do this, or you could do that. But then the question is, well, the how, right? And so this group really pushed us to consider and make it happen so that we organize missions for job shadowing. And I think that went a long way. That's where the light bulb went in into, being illuminated, and the work started to materialize. I know at the beginning also there was a debate, well, what is all this concentration on the local economy and more concentrating on local businesses and entrepreneurs and our local food and our local tourism. And this is, not far out there. Most places that have a large catchment for tourism often think about bigger businesses, hotels, restaurants, and the such, about bringing them in and having investment come in. But I think there was a lot of dialogue and a lot of progress made about how you intertwine both of those, the big approach of the big entities coming in, but also not forgetting about our local entrepreneurs, our local economy, those people who are embedded into what will contribute to the bigger stores and the bigger hotels. So I think here, as we've said, there has been a partnership upon partnerships being leveraged to get good learning underway. For sure, for us, it has been a wonderful thing to be able to see the integration of a lot of youth in Kouga. We've seen that in many workshops. We've seen that in the staff itself as well. Youth being incorporated, growing in the LED unit, and then moving forward to other places. And it's exciting, although it's sad to have important resources leave your municipality, but you can always take the satisfaction that you developed that resource that will now contribute to another community and also to South Africa as a whole with new knowledge. So again, we see, it's the forging out of the products of Big M going out there and as has been mentioned before, preaching the gospel of Big M. Teboho and I are very proud and happy of all the work being done in Kouga. And I know that it's not the end. I know that a few people in Kouga owe me beverages. So I will be collecting those at a later point in time. I think they know who they are, but I'll be happy to visit Kouga again. It's dear to my heart, and it's definitely a place where I could I could see myself visiting many times. I know Teboho will speak about things that are still going on the works that will help us kind of transition towards the end of this project, but into the later months. I know we have worked, Teboho and I have worked closely with CNAM, which is our asset management network here in Canada. He'll talk about a new initiative that we have where we're launching some webinars that are actually open now, and people can access them to learn more about asset management. And it's a pilot that we're starting for the next 2 months to hopefully, keep on going. And also, big efforts being done with gender and gender mainstreaming. We're also continuing with that. I know that Salga, Teboho, and others are really going to push for the gender-based analysis plus course to keep on doing. I know there is also plans from different places for that to be adapted to make it more South African context based. But we, as many people have said, the project is over. The long-lasting partnership, knowledge, and friendships will forever be long-lasting. So with that, I pass it on to my brother Mbulelo, and happy to be with everybody in Kouga today.
Thank you very much, Marshall. And what I'm hearing in your sharing is this notion that perhaps a lot of the Big M initiatives and those foundation pieces can be seen as catalytic pieces to other kinds of things in the municipality, and so that spoke to the point of departure. I think Marshall has set you up very well for your piece, Tebogo. Can I hand over to you directly?
Thank you very much. Am I audible? Yeah. No, thank you very much, Sipo. On the other side, I can see you miss the beautiful landscape of our province. It's a partnership of partnerships for partnerships so that they can partner with other partners. That's the reason why we are here, Datumeya. Precisely is that we started this professional certificate in asset management. The good news is that we have extended the submission of the program for a week because of the challenges that colleagues are experiencing. It's a course that is also going to assist our municipalities to also ensure that they are responding to the issues that are affecting our environment, which is, it had 7 modules. We started in March for the benefit of the municipalities. And the cause it's very interesting to assist our municipalities. The cost is very expensive, 30,000 Rand per person. And it had 7 modules. One is on asset management concept. Whatever we do, natural asset, our asset that municipalities are having, we want to also utilize this because there's a risk management of what we do. If you are aware that the area is also a drought, and the colleagues also, if you remember, we also used the Green Book to also link this part with our climate change mitigation and adaptation. And one of the good news is that also the municipalities partnered with other partners on climate change issues, which we really appreciated that from our specialist intelligence, Chauke and James, to also support other municipalities, even though they were more on local economic development, but climate change is affecting the environment. And Dr. Sunshine and Craig spoke about creating a conducive environment, but do we have an entrepreneurship program where we need to start mentoring and coaching the ones that are emerging, because that's the only way to grow the economy. So level 3, it's more on life cost and planned budget, which it's good when you develop your own IDP to also consider this program. Level of services that you are offering, the program also allude how we need to ensure that the level of services are also improved, customer values, customer level of services, and technical levels of services, which is very key. The module 5 is more on credibility of modeling. And what the previous panel spoke about on the work that you are doing, data is very key on who's supposed to be engaged and understanding figures and reports for that matter. Demand management, you know, when you do your IDP engagement, you get communities also telling you about what is it that is required, but you also prioritize some of the issues. So that module also assists on how within the assets management, we also prioritize our projects. It must be based on economic development, but also ensure that they are inclusive of vulnerable population, speaker, so that we are able to respond to the other issues. We need to be focusing on how we can include all the people that are also supposed to benefit. Building a credible assets management plan, you have to start with that. As I said, the last one, we are extending this program so that people are able to participate. There are 2-3 people that are participating in the municipality, and we'll also look at how we focus on that so that we support them. The LED program, which is one of the projects that is coming, I think we'll start next week visually because of the levels that you are in. Initially, we proposed to start this week with Nelson Mandela University. We are proposing to have what the last panel spoke about, but we need to cascade this knowledge to our municipalities. It's focusing on how to build a capacity of LED cohorts to promote sustained and inclusive economic growth through entrepreneurial behavior. So I'm responding to what Dr. Sunshine and Craig and Babum Kunu about how we need to support this. So we thought through the universities, as Dr. Sunshine has alluded earlier on, that we need to start supporting entrepreneurial initiatives and focusing on women, youth, and people with disabilities, including formal or informal. And then we'll grow to become a bigger one, facilitate market access. You know, you can have good programs, but as long as you don't have a market, it means you're also going to struggle. We have Kouga SEZ that can also unlock some of the potentials that we're having. We have the Kakadu district that Dr. Sunshine has been a friend of BIGM. But these are the issues that we need to create that climate conducive to investment and business activities. The PDO spoke about governance issues. If your governance issues are very key and good, I mean, you'll attract lots of investment as the municipality is doing now. It's precisely because of good governance. So you need to applaud that and appreciate the leadership that you are having so that they are able to lure investment. So the other module that we are planning to do there is to assist municipalities to initiate a strategic partnership so that they can contribute to the achieving the economic objectives of the integrated development plan, because it's our strategic document. We will be going to local government elections, and precisely we need to start ensuring it's not just for compliance purposes, but it's also willing to assist the masses outside there. Development of economic recovery plans post-COVID-19. Policy is also working on that project. We are also on the other side want to develop packages for tourism, packages for our municipalities to be able to plow back to the beneficiaries. What we did also through that, we said, can the university use these two models that we have been applying? The business retention and expansion, the ecosystem through innovation and technology techniques. You can see we have got friends of BIGM and partners connected visually. It's precisely, we also need to ensure that our municipalities are up in the game so that we don't leave you behind. Part of the work that we are doing, the executive, is that we needed to put the visual aids in the municipality. That project needs to be speed up so that we are implementing those for municipalities to be to connect visually. What if you go to level 5 now because of the third wave? It means we don't want our municipalities stopping to operate, but they can connect visually. So those are the programs that we are offering. I will go on this one, program director. We were working with, because as I said, it's a partnership of partnership. Marshall and the team, we engage CINAM, which is a Canadian network of asset managers. So this is a free program for all the municipalities, but it's open for 2 months, from July and August, executive mayor. It's a free for all our municipalities. Once we can start to do it proper and people are locking in, we will be able to ensure that we are assisting to benefit on that. I'm not sure what's happening with my network. Maybe data is gone, but it covers 5 modules which I wanted to log in. Can you see my slide? Which I wanted to log in so that you register. Once you register, you create a new account. Can I get assisted?
I think what will happen if you click on that, it'll take you to another screen, Tibbs, which is, so it'll take you away from the PowerPoint. So you're going to have to reconnect and screen share on that screen, the login screen, not the PowerPoint screen.
Yeah. Wait, my other screen. Yeah, thank you very much. Together we can do more. So we will share the link, but it's for municipalities to be able to utilize this program. And what we are also proposing is that we will be submitting to our leadership to include it in the councillor induction program, so that the next cycle of councillors also can go through it, even the GBA plus. So you create your own account. Once you create your own account, the partners will also be able to share with us that, yes, do you know this municipality? So because already I'm the first to test it, we'll encourage everybody to participate, from Salga, from even our partners, so that we take it together, all of us. So it will give you an opportunity to, we will approve it so that you are able to do it. But it's a good program where I'll just show it to take at least the next 10 minutes for the municipalities to look at it. So part of us is to launch this program on Thursday, but it's precisely we want to have tested it. So it will take you to this slide. Welcome back, Teboho M, Teboho BIGM. These are my courses. It's policy and governance. It's talks about certificate, contribution to the asset management practice, planning and decision making. So once you log in on this, it will also look at how you do it. We spoke about data and information. It's one of the key programs that we need to also do it as a municipality, so that we do an informed decision when we write the reports for our political leadership, so that when they report based on data. The colleagues that are doing this program, I don't know how many are here from even Salga. The data is very key. You are not gonna even go to the next phase on the other program if you haven't done analyze that data. So it assists you on how you analyze, and that's what Koli also said on how the program was assisting. So the other thing is the people and leadership program, where it's a 5th module that you need to do. But over and above this, it's also assisting to respond to issues that are affecting climate change. But we'll launch this and write the proper memo for our political principal and officials to be able to log in. Once we get almost a minimum of 500 people logging in, and at least showing that they are implementing this program, we'll be able to open it for a year. So just imagine for a year, for councillors that are coming and officials, at any time you can log in and try to capacitate yourself with this asset management program. So it's free. We're not charging anything to our municipalities, but we were trying to able to ensure that we are capacitating local government. So it's going to be open for the entire municipalities in the country, officials and councillors to be able to do it. Councillors, you can start doing it now before you even exit the local government sphere. I'm not sure, but I'm saying because we are left with few months to go to election, but we can utilize this opportunity to start to learn and understanding asset management program. Program director, thank you very much for that. Before the speaker comes, I think maybe I must do or I'll do it once the speaker is finished speaking. Thank you very much. Over to you, program director.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to hand over to Marshall before I close out the session. Marshall.
I think I got myself off mute. You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Just to add on to what Teboho has said, The course is really structured and something that we introduced at the Asset Management and Climate Change Conference we had last year in March, just before COVID struck. The courses or the course outline is really based on the FCM Asset Management Readiness Scale, which Teboho can share once that communique goes out, more formal memo goes out to everybody, so that you can see how doing the courses will actually better the readiness of your municipality to handle and manage assets.
This seems like an incredible opportunity, guys, and I'm just hoping that we're able to, over the last 2 days of our big consolidation conference, get the message out as far and wide, and maybe Teboho will also use the Selga system to get as much participation. It looks amazing. It absolutely looks amazing. So thank you very, very much for that opportunity. Good people, we've reached the end of a long and incredibly engaging day. And so I would like to, I see a hand from Vusi Yake. Vusi? Are you doing a high five or you're doing, can I speak?
Okay, good day everyone. Good day, Program Director. I'm the Vusi that Ntate Motlo was talking about. I've reached the program on the tail end, but what I can say is that it has definitely changed the lives of many people around the Eastern Cape in particular. And I just want to say that thank you very much. I've seen how BCAM is shifted from the theoretical up to the practical phase in changing the lives of the localities and in developing and empowering various communities within the participating municipalities. And I'm glad to see that the replication is extending beyond those beneficiaries, and may the legacy of BCAM live long for future generations to learn from in developing and well as driving the aspiration of various municipalities and people all around South Africa. Thanks.
Well, there is no better way to end a day like this than with testimony. So thank you very much, Vusi, for bringing your voice into the room. Much appreciated.
Okay.
From my twin, Jeremy Tim, and I would like to extend a sincere thank you for your presence today, for the humongous amount of work that we know went on the back end of this program, organizationally and practically. And I'd like to hand over to Mayor Horatio Hendricks to close us out formally, please. But from our side as facilitators, thank you very, very much for your inputs today. I hope you have a great evening, and look forward to seeing you on our consolidation days later in the week. Have a good one. And may I hand over to Mayor.
Thank you.
Not quite Mayor.
Not the mayor, it's exciting. I wanted, the mayor unfortunately had to leave to attend another meeting. And I just wanted to say thank you on his behalf, but then he gave me 2 pages a year, which is actually really good. So I wanted to just say thank you and leave, but I will definitely do myself and him an injustice if I don't read what he has written here. So please allow me, please bear with me. It's really not long. I want to thank all stakeholders involved today. I want to salute and applaud you for your contribution and sharing of ideas and your commitment over the last few years. I want to appreciate in particular our gracious funders, Global Affairs Canada, without whom this would not be possible. FCM and Salga, thank you for your guidance, leadership, and support throughout. I still firmly believe that no municipality is an island. As we navigate through very difficult challenges to provide the best services possible to our communities, we need sustainable partners to help us move forward. Secondly, municipalities who successfully recover economically post-COVID will be the ones who can secure local, national, and foreign direct investment. The guess is, are we ready for investment? as Kouga, we want to shout it from the heavens. Yes, we are. Let me state without any reservation, mitigation and adaptation to climate change is not optional. Building inclusive economies that involves women and vulnerable groups is non-negotiable. As we close out this project, our story is still not finished. We are merely moving to the next chapter in leaving the legacy of building an inclusive green municipality. We commit to remain a beacon of hope in the Eastern Cape through entrenching a system of good governance, being accountable to our communities, striving for service excellence, and abiding by the rule of law. I want to leave you with an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Thank you very much. That brings this conference to an end. Thank you. Before we leave, Gary, am I audible? I want to conclude.
Yeah, Vus. Grand. Yeah, grand. Don't ngabila fondini ufike.
Dimgile ngikelo nyapheleyo ndisemidvala.
Buzi.
Uthixo wami le ndoda. All the way to
Marshall.
Gonyama.
How you, Marshall?
I'm fine. My cub.
Yes, your cub is still good.
Don't forget the fire test, eh? Who won that one?
How can I forget that?
In a privileged.
Nice to see you. Lucy, I have to go.
And work with my team.
Okay.
With specialists, policy, the team, partners of partnership. So we started this way and we'll end it this way. I have a BIGM culture that I introduced. So can we all stand up? Then you'll see the floor, it's allowing us to do it. 1, 2. Yeah. It's 1, 2. Woo! Yeah, let's ready ourselves. It's 1, 2. Woo! Yeah, let's do it. The story is that when I was in Dlambe, the floor was shining like this. And I fell twice in that council meeting, but I stood up. And nobody said anything to me until the following day, because I was presenting, but the chair moved, then I felt, but I stand up. So I didn't fall forever, speaker. I stood up and I said, Aluta continua. It had to happen, but that day it happened to me. Perhaps people are falling, but they are not down. So you can even start to stand up and continue. So that's what I did twice in the same boardroom. But let's do it. 1, 2. Woo! Thank you very much.